didn't play by the rules and still made it to the top. This is where the real stories live, raw, bold, and unapologetic. These are real women, real stories, unfiltered success. Welcome to Next to Nunn.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Ashley Harmon. I am the co-owner of Chalax Tap & Co. in St. Peter's, your bougie beer mom, and crafted social plate. I get to sit on the other side today, and I will be interviewing Mrs. Amy K. Nunn. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I mean, I'm kind of a little nervous here because you usually are doing all the questions and all the jazz all the time.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling to be on this side of it.
Okay. This will be a fun, interesting interview, and then we're just going to take a deep dive on how you embody courage. You embody passion for building strong leaders and building culture in the workplace, and I have literally watched it firsthand. So just a little rundown with Amy, like her leadership. She's a leadership mentor. And when I tell you, she sat at my kitchen table and has mentored me through a project that I sold out of in 15 days. So she's on point with that. She's a cultural strategist. She's basically certified in everything, I would like to say. She is, of course, your host of Next to None podcast, where she creates a space for women to share their stories and share their success in a very unfiltered way. So today is your turn to be unfiltered, for sure. She has over 20 years of experience. She's guided founders, executives, organizations, and leading them with clarity and embodying core values and creating teams that thrive. Mm-hmm. So we're definitely just going to have a conversation today about talking about what does that mean to lead, to be authentic when you lead, and why values matter more than vision statements. So I had to say that twice because people always stick to like my values, but then here are your vision statements. So it's like, it's that tongue twister for me. It's those double V's and what comes first and what comes last. And how women can step beyond the hobby mindset into true entrepreneurship. Yeah. So hopefully we can deep dive and get inspired and, have girl talk.
Let's do it.
Like we usually do.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's go. So I first want to get into like your personal story. Sure. Okay. So you said that leadership isn't always pretty and it's not always polished, right? So what first drew you into leadership and coaching and like cultural work?
I've been a part of organizations through my career that did leadership well, and some of them did not do so well. And the way that you lead an organization, I always tell people, like, it starts at the top. The CEO sets the foundation for the entire organization. And when the CEO or the top leader is not leading well, it creates a toxic culture as it trickles down. Because if they're not healthy, no one in the organization is going to be healthy, or they're not going to stay. And so I saw that many times in different organizations that I worked for, which weren't a lot, but seeing how that played out, I just started deep diving into leadership to understand, because I have this one telling me this is what leadership is, and then this one says this is what leadership is, and they didn't match. They didn't come together. It didn't make sense to me. And so I started deep dive reading. Like the first year I bought a Kindle way back when they first came out. I read 400 books.
Oh my gosh.
About all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
Some of them were novels, but the majority of them were self-development and also like learning about psychology things and just all these different pieces that make up good leaders. So through that, I started doing a lot of mentoring with young women. There was, I think, in the first time I did it, almost immediately I had 5 young women that I started mentoring. And to this day, they've all achieved the things that they looked to achieve in their life, and they're incredible leaders. And so when I saw how that worked, because what it was is that 3 things. I cared about them, I made sure that they were known, and I make sure that they were needed. And those are 3 things that people want, period. No matter if man, female, doesn't matter. That's what people want.
So out of the 20 years that you've been doing this and mentoring, what was that pivotal moment in your life where you was like, pause, I got to change directions. This is what I want to do. Like, Was it something to where you were like in the shower, you were at home, you were sitting and watching TV, and you were like, oh, I don't like this feeling of when I come home from my everyday 9 to 5, or I just don't like, you have that gut feeling of you are just unhappy with something and you don't know what it is.
So I'm a Christian, and through that process, I started to really, the last organization I was at, I started to really feel like I was dying inside while I was working there. And I had just started asking God, like, is this really where you want me? Like, I'm doing incredible work. I had 3 departments that were 250 people of volunteers that I was leading, and I had created leadership structures and all those things. And I was like, is this really what you want for me? And I loved the people. I loved being able to serve others in that capacity and lead. And the teams were going beautifully. And I mean, like, I could just not even be there, and they still just functioned as if I was standing there. And I'm like, there's more to this. And there were pieces of the organization that just didn't align for me anymore in terms of what I saw leadership to be versus what they felt leadership could be. And so I couldn't do it anymore. And I just felt like I was supposed to leave.
So did you just go cold turkey?
Yes.
Or did you do like, oh, okay. So you just said, okay.
I don't want to share how that unfolded, unpacked, just because of the... I just can't. The area, I still live in the area, and I don't want to bring any negativity into that conversation.
Well, it won't be negative because it's your journey and your piece. So it's like, you can, I know for me, when I left teaching, it was that cold turkey moment of, it's either I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it.
It was cold turkey, for sure.
Yeah. It was just like, I still love what I did. I still love the kids, of course, but me personally needed to get out of that layer of skin and, grow a new one.
I will say, I just, it's integrity to me that I don't share some of the details of that, just because I don't want to hurt other people, and I don't want other people to be hurt by me, because I think that that's really important. Some people just go out and blast everything that's happened to them, or vice versa. And I'm not that person, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not saying it in a mad way or bad way. No. To me, that's integrity.
Speaking of integrity, you've shared your 6 core values, right? Which are integrity, wisdom, humility, gratitude, faith, and service, right? Which one has to be the hardest for you to consistently live out as a leader? Out of those 6, which is the hardest one that is just like that struggle for you to live out every day?
Oh, say them again. I know them, but I'm just processing.
Integrity, wisdom, humility, gratitude, faith, service.
Honestly, faith sometimes, because not everyone has the same beliefs that I do.
Yep.
And so I don't ever want to force those things on people. And so I remain open to do that if the door opens for me. And then, I integrate my own faith in where I pray for my clients, or, those types of things. I don't tell them that all the time, but that's my faith in action. And I think that's probably the hardest one for me to walk out, just because, especially in today's climate of our society, sometimes it's a very black and white line for some people. And, when I first started coaching, I had the opportunity to coach an atheist, and it was the most fascinating conversations that I ever had with someone. And on the front end, she asked me, I know that you are a strong Christian. Are you okay coaching an atheist? And I said, absolutely. Are you okay with me coaching you? Yes. And it was an incredible opportunity for me to coach her, but I didn't have to bring faith into it. Correct. She asked questions throughout the process, but I didn't force the issue. And that's not who I am. I don't force people into conversations, but I'm also not afraid to speak of my faith if it fits into the conversation and into the context.
Yeah. And I like that, because that's still you being authentic. You're not pushing it in anyone's faith, but you're not just saying, here, this is what I believe, so you have to believe this too. So I want
to say this. Some people might say, well, then you're not really walking out your faith. And I disagree, because Jesus, the way that he led, he met people where they were. He didn't force them into his will. in those things. He met them where they were at. And I feel like that's what I'm doing as a leader, is I'm meeting people where they are. And it's not my job for you to have a faith journey. It's your relationship with God and with Jesus that does that.
And that's true. You can work with any type of person, and people have to know the difference between just having a simple conversation and not always thinking that it's a debate.
Correct.
Not always thinking that it's aggressive. It is, you can still walk away with your beliefs and I can still walk away with mine, and I just give you a little bit of nuggets and you give me a little bit of nuggets, and that's all to it. So no.
Well, it goes back to something I always say, you can learn from every conversation.
Absolutely. You sure can.
Or is my faith going to be wavered by something you might say? No, because I know who I am in Christ, and that doesn't change.
Correct. All right now. Okay, so you're certified in DISC. Is that what it is? Okay, well, we're going to do that question again, so I don't know what that was. Okay, so you're a certified DISC practitioner. What leadership blind spots do you see most often across the different styles?
Emotional intelligence.
Oh, Jesus, yes.
That was a no-brainer.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Let's go.
Yeah.
Why?
People aren't as self-aware as they think they are. And if they do think they're self-aware, and they might be to an extent, I would recommend for anyone that is questioning whether they have self-awareness, first of all, get Emotional Intelligence 2.0, or they have a new version out called the New Emotional Intelligence. I also have a assessment that is specifically for emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the one thing that you will rise or fall as a leader.
Yes. I 1,000% agree. What's that number one that you're like, oh my gosh, if I see this again, in female leaders? Because as I'm a female leader, a female entrepreneur, it's like, what is the one thing that you see common across the board?
Relationship management.
So are we taking it too close and we're making them too personal, or are we too far away?
Insecurities.
Why are we insecure?
I think that women in general, there is something that is in our makeup where we want to be respected. And I'm not saying these things are bad.
No,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They've been hurt. And so instead of doing the inner work to bring yourself to a healthy place, what happens is you become insecure, and these insecurities tend to show up in relationships with other women. You're intimidated, oh my gosh, I can't be friends with Ashley. She's amazing. She's all over the board. She's got however many followers on, wherever the places are. Well, she doesn't want to have that relationship with me. And it also shows up in self-awareness, because how women respond to that. There are actually a lot of women who put this shell up and they don't show who they are. They just come up with this, what's it called? Persona.
Yes. Yep.
And this is who I show people I am. But when they go home, there's somebody completely different.
Yep.
So they're working so hard to be something that they're not, versus being who they are and then allowing other people to say yes or no. I just choose to be who I am.
Yeah.
Do I have certain insecurities? Sure, we all do. That's all going to be, but I'm aware of them. And that's the key. I'm aware that I have insecurities. And so when I have those insecurities, I have to ask myself the question, why am I insecure in this?
Yeah.
And then walk that out.
I feel like with women entrepreneurs and executives, and just, where we have a larger team, I feel like ego and pride equals missed opportunity. And that's why we don't collaborate as much, because we feel either intimidated by that other CEO, or we feel like, oh, they're trying to get one over us, or they're trying to watch me fall, instead of us coming together, all of those insecurities, those I'm going to be better, and that competitive spirit comes into play instead of us winning together.
Yeah. Women think they have to be the loudest voice in the room. And they don't.
Loud and wrong.
I walk into a room and I can just sit back and watch and just see how everything falls in the conversation. And then someone will ask me a question. I'm like, well, thank you for asking that. Here's my answer. Like, I don't have to be the loudest person in the room. And I don't need to be in the room. There's a difference in that. You want something that you don't have, but at the same time, it's like, okay, how are you putting yourself in the room and how are you showing up in the room? You don't have to show up in the room to be loud.
Your presence will be there.
Be confident in who you are and then walk into the room.
I will say I have learned that from you. With our just side conversations, just knowing my ability and what I can do, I'm not going to go back and forth with you on a decision that I've already made up in my head, and I know I can execute it and I can show you better than I can tell you. And my new motto, and just because of the conversations that we have, is that I rather win a war than a battle. And I'm not going to go tit for tat on these numbers or this spreadsheet when the end goal is there. And it's okay. I'll move around you and won't go back and forth, but I'm going to win the war.
If you find yourself in a battle of will, stop. Because nobody wins.
Nobody wins when the family feuds. The famous quote of Jay-Z. Nobody wins when the family feuds. No, nobody wins when the family feuds. And he also said another quote that reminds me of you. He says, everyone has a crab in a barrel mentality, but we don't realize crabs don't belong in a barrel. So, like, why? That is really good. So, okay. So let's move on to like women leadership, entrepreneurship type of thing. But before I get to this, since we're talking about women and I want to throw in a this or that, Yolanda Adams or Whitney Houston, which one? Who do you prefer?
Whitney.
What?
I love Whitney's voice.
Jill Scott or Erykah Badu?
Oh, that one's hard.
Jill Scott or Erykah Badu? Let's go. Fun fact, everyone. Amy is a singer. She sings. Like, yes, I know. She loves CC and BB Winans. We have sat on my kitchen table and like played YouTube videos, and I'm like, "Ooh, you should sing it like this, or you should sing it like that." So you should be thinking of an answer, right? Because I'm still going to go back to Jill Scott.
Both of those.
And you got to go to both now.
I have to say Jill Scott because I like living your life like that's one of my favorite songs. I love that song.
I'm telling
I want to
you.
get in a good pump myself up. I listen to the Golden.
Oh no, I'm gonna throw some little nuggets in there, things you might not know about Amy. But yes, she is. That's her jam. So okay, so one of your podcast themes, right, is moving beyond the hobby mindset, right? So what are the biggest barriers that you're seeing that's holding women back from stepping into real entrepreneurship? So this is a two-part question, right? So I want you to give me an answer based on just women in general that's holding them back, that has that hobby mindset. And then I want you to give me a perspective of how you can help an African-American woman who has other boundaries on top of having that beyond the hobby, mindset too. So it's that twofold, right?
So women in general, I would say poverty mindset.
What's that?
So they go into their business and they're just chasing the money. They're just trying to make enough to cover their hobby. Versus someone that's like, I'm gonna make money out of this. What are your goals that you're setting? You go into it and you don't make goals. You're just going.
Yeah.
And you're doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same result, and then you don't understand, and that's called insanity. And to me, that's a poverty mindset because you aren't thinking of the future. And I will say there are some challenges for women. If they're married, sometimes their spouses are not always supportive of that. I was a lucky one. My husband was like, I'm all in. What do you need from me? How can I help you?
This woman is my man.
I do.
Because she loves her man. I promise you. I'm surprised this is the first time he has been mentioned. She is very my man.
I do love my husband. My husband, Michael, he is incredible. And when I first told him I wanted to start a business, he said, okay.
Good. Yeah.
What do you need? Let's, how are we going to do this? How can I support you? And not every woman has that.
Correct.
And I think that is also part of, that's a whole nother conversation. But I think that's also, they go into it defeated. So they start their hobby and they're defeated. Because they don't have the support. And that's why if you are a female or woman who's starting a hobby business, get into Little Black Book Women in Business. It's a very supportive community, and you don't have to have the support of your spouse. You want that, but you don't have to have it. You can start your business, and you can also in turn show them that you can make money off of this. You can have a business that thrives. But Little Black Book Women in Business does a great job at supporting women entrepreneurs.
So what would you say for any woman of color?
Sure.
Right? Because that is its own barrier in itself too, as entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, my husband is mixed. And so I have, there's a lot of family that I just adore. And some of them are entrepreneurs, some of them are not. And it's mostly the women that are entrepreneurs. And I see some of the struggles that they have. I'm trying to think of the word. What? Drawing a blank.
Resistance?
No, not resistance. It's where every woman is seen the same. Oh, I can't think of the word.
That they want to be seen the same as every woman?
It's not a good thing. It's a negative connotation. It's that they're seen as like every woman of color is exactly the same type of personality. They act the same. They do all the things the same. Does that? Yeah. I can't think of the word.
I don't know what. You know what? It's like it's almost like they want to put women of color in a box of what they see on reality shows and TVs. But I don't necessarily know that term. But everyone, we're not all Real Housewives of Atlanta. We're not all Love and Hip. Like there are so many different layers.
Yes.
To us.
Yes. And not every woman of color is loud. Not every woman of color is quiet. Not every, it's just, it goes back to something that I say all the time. Every person is unique. And we have uniqueness all in different ways. And the challenges of women of color come into play when people have a preconceived notion of what they see as a woman of color. And they don't see them as someone that could run a business or, that can be as successful as like for you're in a very male dominated and it's not a person of color environment, like
Correct.
Industry usually.
Correct.
So you were hitting both, you were knocking both doors down either which way, but you broke that barrier. And I remember you and I talked about that on the podcast you were at several months back or whatever, but you talked about, and this gave me a different perspective. You talked about how you had to show up differently to all those preconceived notions went out the door because you showed up differently than their expectations were.
And being intentional.
And you were intentional about it.
Yeah.
Is that fair? No, it's not fair. But I think women in general also have that.
Yeah. But I think being intentional is fine because when you go to a job interview, you have to be intentional to get that position.
Yes.
If you want to go into the grocery store and you go to Walmart, you have to go with the list because you have to be intentional with your purchases.
Right.
So why not approach everything like that? Because as a business owner, your time is valuable.
Yeah.
And if it's anything from even going to get your nails done, sometimes I don't do both because I don't have enough time. Right? Your time is value. So be intentional with everything that you do.
But it's also a mindset.
Yeah.
Because if you go into something thinking they have a preconceived notion of me and they are going to treat me this way and they were going to do this, I'm not saying that it's not fair to think that. But if you go into it with that mindset, you probably are going to pick up cues of that, even though it may not be as prevalent as you anticipated it to be.
That's too true. Here's a question. So you mentioned founders and executives that you have worked with. You are very much so in a corporate space where you have led larger teams, Fortune 500 companies. What is one leadership habit that separates thriving entrepreneurs from struggling entrepreneurs?
Consistency.
Man.
You have to be consistent.
It gave me chills, and you want to know why?
Why?
Because it's so funny how it's consistency, but then, because I'm looking at it from a woman's entrepreneur, thing, right? And when you deal with male CEOs versus female CEOs, who lacks more consistency, the male or the female?
It's a personality thing to me. It's not a male versus female. It's a personality thing. Like you might have a personality. So if we're talking about the DISC scale, right? The I personality, they love people. So they might lack consistency in the process of how they do things. They don't do it every week. Like, it's just like the same. It's kind of like liken it to this. Like I was just talking with some ladies about social media and all that stuff. So an entrepreneur that is inconsistent in their social media, guess what? Their brand is not going to grow.
Correct.
Versus one that's consistent in it, their brand's going to probably grow.
Correct.
In different ways.
Yeah.
Right. So it's no different. So let's say I have a D personality CEO, very driven, very results oriented. They're going to have a lot of consistency, and they're actually pretty rigid in their schedules. They don't like to change. So the consistency is easy for them. Versus an I personality who consistency is hard. They like to talk to people. They like to, go around and I'm an ID personality. I was very intentional. I would get up and walk around and talk to people because I knew that was an important part of my job.
Right.
But however, because I was an ID, I also was able to drive results because that was also important to me. But there were pieces of what I was doing that was not consistent. Does that make sense? So I think that consistency is different. It's unique for each person. There's going to be things there's probably things right now that you think of that you're not consistent in your life.
Absolutely. Because I was thinking to myself, when you are hired on to work with the team, is it usually the CEO that brings you in?
Sometimes
or someone else? Because because they would have to realize themselves that there is something wrong with their systems and how they're leading. That is that's a gut punch almost well, what you mean I'm not doing this correctly? And I've done this and I've done that. And, once again, that ego and pride will take away any opportunity for growth or any opportunity for everything. So
sometimes when a business owner, an executive or a CEO approaches me and said, hey, I need you to work with this person because they're not getting things right. And whatever the case is, whatever their issues are that they see them in them, I say to them, okay, I will coach with them, but I want to meet with you once a month because it's not technically always just the person. Sometimes it's how they're being led.
Ooh, all facts. I've learned that too. Oh my God. Remember when I'm telling y'all this kitchen table discussion that we had because I needed help with one of my employees and we had a discussion and a technique, and I like how it was delivered to me, right? When you delivered the information, because I was able to chew it, digest it, and then regurgitate it out in a way to where they weren't offended and it became effective and their work ethic improved, their numbers improved. So you so softly just worked it in there. You were just, well, Ashley, I think that you should. And I was like, well, what do you mean? This person, no, this is wrong. This isn't, Ashley, what do you think about this? And then your voice never got higher as mine got higher. But Ashley, it always stayed in that same tone. And I was like, wow, so.
But here's the thing. That is what coaching is.
Yeah.
Coaching is not me sitting here telling you all the things that you should be doing.
Yeah.
It's me asking you a series of questions to evoke something in you that makes you go, oh, the light bulb went off. Or you have that aha moment going, oh.
This too is true. Now let's get into the podcasting part and the storytelling part, right?
Yeah.
So you're always asking your guests to be unfiltered and, honest with everything. What's the most powerful or surprising story a guest has shared that has just stuck with you? Because you've talked to quite a few people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And give me a good one. I need something good. Okay? Give me something good.
The most powerful story.
You could just say mine. Why
okay,
not?
It's her.
Goodness, golly. As much as we sat down here and talked before.
Honestly, they all are powerful in their own way. I don't really look at them as each person that I bring on gives something. You learn something from each person. And to me, that's the story. The story of the podcast is that you're hearing real stories from real women who have had unfiltered success. They haven't gotten there easy, but they all share different pieces of that story. And it honestly is similar in a lot of ways in how they have gotten to where they're at. But a specific one, I think all of them are just beautiful in and of themselves. And again, I'm going to say something I've already said earlier. You can learn something from every conversation with everyone. And each story is going to resonate different with different people because everybody's in different places.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, here's this one. If you could record a podcast conversation with your younger self, right? Just starting out, your younger version of you just starting out, what would you want her to hear?
I would say that one of the things, I'm a very direct and strong individual. I know who I am, but I didn't always know who I was. And so take me at 21 years old, and I had people speaking into my life that shouldn't have been. Or even 7 years ago, I had a leader that would tell me, you know, you're this, you're this, you're this. And I would just sit there and go, no, I'm not. But I began to slowly shrink back inside of myself. And even when I was in my early 20s, similar. Well, you're this and you're that. And I probably would say to my younger self, don't ever compromise who you've been made to be. And take the things that you need to take from people that they say, take the things that you can grow out of, but throw away the bad.
Yeah.
Because as women, we tend to take it all.
Yes. Yep.
And then we're looking at ourselves with this is the strength that we have, but we really have a weakness over here, which I hate that word weakness. I call them challenges. And that I would tell myself, don't compromise who you are. Grow as an individual, but don't compromise who you are.
Yeah. I was thinking about that question too, because all of my past leaders are all strong women, and all the times that they were hard on me and they were pushing me and my evaluations weren't perfect the way that I wanted them to be. When I think back, this 42-year-old person says, oh no, they were preparing you for this. They were preparing to push you. All of my old administrators, my mom, my sister, you know, my mom with PhD in education, my sister is a superintendent. Dr. Dorlita Adams was my old administrator here, and she used to always push. And I'm like, will they ever be satisfied? But it was like, no, Ashley, they're not picking on you. They're fine tuning everything, right? If you buy a fancy car, you still got to get an oil change.
Yeah, you still have to maintenance it.
You still got to do maintenance. It's not going to always run right. You know what I'm saying? So you have to do those little tweaks. And as an entrepreneur, and as a CEO, and even as a leader, you have to tweak it.
Yeah.
But sometimes we need the mechanic to come in and let us know where those weak spots are.
100%. You know, one of the other things that popped into my mind with this as you're talking is that you are not what you do.
That's hard. That's hard.
That's not who you are. It's something you output. And I am a leader, and that is part of who I am. But that is not who I am.
Oh, goodness. I'm going to have to chew on that because, yes. Yes. Okay.
So let's say Ashley co-owns Chalax, but that's not who she is.
Yes. But
it's what you do.
Yes, it is. Yes. Okay. You see, I'm trying to think of something to say back, but I can't. Okay.
Here's the thing, though.
I have a good comeback.
How many women attach themselves to what they're doing as their identity versus this is something I do. It's not who I am.
You know what? I need to think that. And I need to have that mindset, because I always tell people it's okay to change directions in life, change careers. Since I changed a career, if I always feel like that job is me, I'm never going to leave when I'm ready to leave.
That's right. Let's say Chalax and all the other things that you have your hands on are stripped away.
Yeah.
You still are who you are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll write that on the mirror, I guess. We'll have a song with that. Okay. Okay, Ma. Golly, Amy.
But it's the reality. Women identify themselves with either who they're married to, their family, their jobs, their businesses.
Yeah.
And that's not who we are.
Correct.
Women, I am going to say this, and I'm going to be proud of myself for saying this. I am an incredible woman. I have a heart to serve others. I have learned humility the hard way. I carry integrity because I know how important it is. Watch what people do, not what they say, right? And when someone said that to me, I took that to heart. I'm like, I need to be above reproach.
Yeah.
And that is who I am. That shows up in my business in different places.
No, I do agree. Oh, I like that. Watch what people do and not what they say, because people spitfire things.
Well, yeah. I mean, people sometimes with good intentions, they say, oh, well, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, they spitfire things. And they don't. No, that's right.
But they have good intentions. Some of them don't. Some of them do.
So now that you've built a platform around real stories and being, authentic leadership, what's your big vision, for Next to Nunn over the next few years?
I want Next to Nunn to be a go-to for women that are struggling, that can't afford a coach, but they can come on and listen to stories from women that have been there, done that, and are very successful, or women that are in the middle of it all still, but they're climbing their way out. There's nothing more encouraging to watch someone where you want to be. And actually, I would go even further than this and say this. You want to grow in something, find someone that's good at it and see if you can shadow them. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you can't grow in something if you don't have someone. I'm huge about mentorship. And it doesn't mean that you have to find the physical person. Maybe there's somebody you follow on TikTok or YouTube or classes, right? Those different types of things. If there is something that you're lacking in your life, find a way to grow in that area, even if you cannot afford to hire a coach or have someone in your life that's that mentor.
Yeah. We have created the Amy Nunn Fix My Life series. Fix my life, right? So finally, what's the one piece of leadership advice that you want every listener to walk away with today in our conversation?
When you leave a room or a conversation, what do you want that person to feel about you? Were they for you? Did you feel encouraged by your conversation with them? Did you feel like they just beat the crap out of you? I mean, what do you want people to feel when every conversation that you walk away with, every conversation with them?
That's a good thing to consider. And it's all in being intentional with it. And then walking in with your 6 core values with that as well. But then also understanding the emotional intelligent process of it and meeting people where they are and then making that adjustment to your leadership so you can differentiate your instruction for your team so everyone can perform.
And I would say this, as a leader, it cannot ever be about you.
Holy moly, yes, because they eat before we eat.
That's right.
As a leader, we make sure our people eat before we eat.
And the great John Maxwell says, leadership is influence.
Yeah, there it is. There, one more. Are we going to do Luther? You either have to pick, right? You can either pick Luther or Otis Redding.
Otis. If I have to pick all together, Marvin Gaye.
Well, yeah.
Oh gosh, Luther Vandross.
That's what I said. Luther. Yes, I said
Luther. All the way, yes.
Even though he, redid a lot of Dionne Warwick songs. Yeah. But nobody would have known, like my generation, we would have known that those were Dionne Warwick songs. Yes. But I mean, the man is the Velvet Teddy Bear. Like,
dude, he could sing.
Correct.
I could listen to him all day long.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, she gets in her R&B bag like no other. I'm telling you, she gets in her R&B bag.
We have a whole playlist called Old School.
We get into the whole R&B bag all the way. Okay, so definitely was a powerful conversation. You reminded us that like leadership isn't perfection, right?
Right.
It's about values. It's about humility. It's about courage to grow. Like even when it's messy.
Hold on. I want to tell you this because I think this is important in what you're saying. Leadership isn't perfection. You're not going to get it right all the time. I'm not going to get it right all the time. The big piece of it is when you don't get it right, have humility and go back and say, you know what, I didn't get that right, and I'm asking you to forgive me.
Yeah. Ooh, girl, that is hard at home, at work, at school, at church, at all of the above. Like people, admitting when you're wrong, right? Is, especially as a leader, is very hard to do, because sometimes those wrong decisions, you take a dip and a dive financially, right? And then you have to rebuild, restructure, and do it all over again. And sometimes it's hard to sit back and say, oh, that was a wrong hire. That was my bad. Or that was a wrong investment. I shouldn't have done that. That is hard for leaders. Oh my gosh, honey.
But what does it do what is the outcome when you do have humility in those situations?
Honestly, I think you have a stronger team. You have a team that is more invested into you, and
loyalty.
then it's all in that loyalty, right? And because nobody wants, even a leader as a smarty pants that I just know everything and I can do everything and I know it all.
That's what women do sometimes, though. A lot of women just act like they have it all together. And what would happen if we were honest about where we're at? It had humility to say, I'm not great at marketing, but I'm learning and I'm trying.
Right. Hey, honestly, that's all you can do. But I do like that. I do like the term of, or the phrase of, leadership isn't perfection, and it's your values, right? It's not your mission statement, but it's your values. That's humility, the courage to grow, and the courage just to be better, right? And the courage to evolve as a leader and as a person. You don't want to be the same person that you were yesterday. I always say, I always want to be a new version of myself.
I would say if you think that you know it all and you walk around and lead that way, you are not going to be a leader for very long. And you're going to be walking with no one behind you.
Correct. You walking by yourself. Yeah, you're going to be walking on that line by yourself. Well, if you want to learn more about Amy, you can definitely check out her podcast, Next to Nunn. Check her out on all social media platforms, from LinkedIn to Facebook. Are we moving on to Instagram yet?
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Okay. And it's Amy K. Nunn on all of those platforms.
Oh, yes, because, when you look it up, there's another Amy Nunn. So you got to use Amy K. Nunn for sure. Yes, so it's real women, real stories, unfiltered success. And, you can also connect with her through her leadership work on nexttonunn.com. And just hearing, we are like a combination, honey. We are a combination, but no, we have really shared some really deep moments. And being a leader and being like a co-CEO of a fast growing company is a hard thing to do. And I'm not your average, I'm not your average person. I'm not your average CEO of a company of like,
especially in your industry.
In my industry, my look, everything that I do is just totally different. And we were able to gel, and how fast my company has grown, and just, having our conversation as I grow into a bigger leader and with a bigger platform. You've definitely dropped some gems on me, for real. I've had to chew on some stuff and write some sticky notes on my mirror. Like, what would Amy do? That's what I said. It's like, Amy K. Nunn fixed my life. Not Ivana fixed my life. Amy K. Nunn fixed my life.
No, Ashley fixed her life because she chose to fix her life.
Facts. No, that is all facts. All facts.
But I did help along the way.
You did. Oh my God. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I do agree. I do agree. Success is sometimes scary.
It sure is.
It's scary. Success is scary.
Because when you hit success, like it's so funny. So when I first started in my previous career, I started in one job, and I thought, this is what I'm called to do. This is what I'm meant to be and meant to do. And then about 7 years into it, it shifted to something different.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would have never guessed that I would be doing this. And then guess what? 13 years later, it shifted into something different again. And
honey, you can change careers like you change husbands. It's okay.
I ain't changing husbands.
Oh, well, we know my man. We know my man. But okay, as often as you
don't be jealous.
Right. As often as you change your nail polish, honey, you can change careers.
Oh, you're funny.
Hey,
you could.
Yes, you can.
But here's the thing: This is what I tell entrepreneurs when they ask me, like, what should I look for? And I'm like, what are you passionate about? Find something. People get joy and energy from doing a business or in a job that they're doing something that they love.
Yep.
And it's their passion.
I know, I agree. Get you an Amy K. Nunn.
Okay, we're done.
I know, because we would just go on, and then you have to do all this editing.
I do want to say thank you, Ashley, for doing this with me. It was so fun. I never have anybody interview me, so this was kind of cool.
I mean, did I give her some good talking points?